Module 3 discusses accessibility and best practice for online instruction. Recently, the federal government updated the mandates for ADA requirements for documents in all public areas, but especially public areas that receive federal funding, which we do in the form of grants and financial aid. So one of the steps we need to do is to start to move forward with making sure our documents are accessible, especially ones that are in the online format. And technically any document can be in the online format. If we email something to a student, it needs to be accessible. If they need a screen reader, I am going to post a video that shows an example of what a screen reader looks like and what it sounds like to the person that is required to use it. But this video is going to show how to make some of your documents accessible. As a campus, we are moving in that direction, and it's going to take time. But if we start creating accessible documents from the beginning, it's much easier than having to edit them or having to revise things at a later date. So there are some resources in the Module 3 page of eLearning. Please take a few moments to review those. But what I'm going to show you right now is a document that is purposely formatted incorrectly, and I'm going to show you how to do some of the formatting tricks. Office products have some great resources for checking accessibility, but some things need to be visually checked. For example, a document should be set up with appropriate titles and headings, and that makes it, when the screen reader reads it, it will say heading, and then it will read the text, and then it will say normal text, and it will read the text. So the student knows when the section is broken up. Now to format, for example, if we wanted to make this top section a title, we have to use the ribbon at the top of the word page. And one of the things we have to do is format it. You can format it so it sets to the same type of title every time you open a Word document. But for now, we're going to focus on this particular document. So to format it, if we just clicked on title, that's how it would look. And that would change the way our document looks. But to change how that looks, say we want it centered and we want it bold. You right click, you click modify, and then you're able to change it the way you want it to be. One of the other things about text is it needs to be in a simple formatted text. For example, sans serif. And one of the tricks to be sure is that it doesn't have a lot of loops and things that can be mistaken for other letters. Calibri is a good one. But we don't want it 28. We want the font to be 16. We don't need it that big. We want it bold. We want it black. You can change the color here if you choose to. And we want to center it. So see how it shows you down in the example below how it's going to look? So then we click OK and see how it changed automatically. Now anything we change to a title, say I want to change this text. If I click on title, that will automatically be changed to the setting we arranged. But I'm going to change it back. The next thing we would probably want to do is do headings. The first level of headings is heading 1. So say we wanted to make Why is Traveling Good for the Soul a heading. If we just clicked heading, it's going to come blue and it's going to look like that. Be consistent with your font, but right click, click modify, and we used Calibri before, so we're going to use that again. It's a heading, so we don't need it as big. I want it black, and I'm still going to have it be bold, and I'm going to have it on the left margin. So now it changed that one. We can go through our document now and change any headings we want to that format. For now, I'm going to change it back because I want to focus on this text here. See how it's all swirly and fancy? The screen reader will have a lot of trouble reading that. We can fix it by creating a heading. We can change the normal text to be, modify it. We want the same type of font. We're just going to make it 12. It's not going to be bold. It's going to be black, and it's going to be left justified. So that will make that change now for oral. Normal. And sometimes it's a little tricky, you have to play with it. But there, now it's all in the normal font. I'm gonna put it, actually I'm gonna leave it changed because I want to show how we can go through it. So we didn't set this text. We want this to be normal text as well. And it already is, if you can look over here. The other thing that you can sometimes visually check is, oh, things changed on me. So as I was making revisions, some of the text changed. I am going to move that back up to where it was so that my text looks correct. And it still looks a little different, but there. I want you to see those tables. The other thing we can look at is how our tables are formatted. If there's blank spaces or blank rows, we can take those out by deleting the cell, deleting the entire row. So now there's no blank spaces. A screen reader would read, they'd have difficulty reading it, or they'd read it blank, 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 blank. Checking to make sure our font is appropriate. We do that throughout the document. Another thing we can check for is color contrast that a screen reader won't pick up on. See this entire section here? You can't really see it because there's not enough color contrast between the back of the page and the text. One easy way to fix that is use our toolbar and do a heading, and then click on the front and do normal text. There, fixed. The other way would be to change the color, but since we're going to be formatting it, it will automatically fix it. There. Another thing we may be able to check visually that a screen reader probably won't pick up on is we should not use color to convey meaning. For example, this section here says the red mushrooms will kill you, the green mushrooms will not. A person with color issues, for example color blindness, wouldn't be able to tell excuse me, which text is red and which text is green. So that means nothing to them. There needs to be a different way to differentiate that. So that's important. Another issue that will show up, sometimes it shows up on a screen reader, sometimes it does not, is your text should be descriptive for URLs. So to fix that, you highlight the entire URL, you right click, you click Edit Hyperlink, and you change it, the text to display, to, which this one's not letting us. Like I said, sometimes you have to play with it a little bit, and it's a little bit tricky. So what I'm going to do, it won't let us do it that way. I'm going to cut the text out of the document. I'm going to insert a hyperlink. I right-clicked. It offers me that option. For the address, I'm going to put the URL, which is what was there. But now see at the top it has text to display. We're going to delete that, and we're going to put 10 Caribbean attractions. See how it's now a descriptive link? If we leave it as the URL, the screen reader is going to read it http:// and that's going to be very confusing for the user. Being a descriptive link, it will say link to 10 Caribbean attractions. So that is some visual things we can check prior to even using the screen reader. Because we made some changes, we're going to save the document. And I'm going to save it as, because I want the original, because I'm going to let you guys practice with it. So I'm going to, but we need to save the document. So I'm going to close it, and then I'm going to reopen it. For some reason, the screen reader works so much better when you reopen the document. I'm sorry, not the screen reader, the accessibility checker. So I reopen the document, and some versions of Word have a little icon up here that looks like a wheel with certain triangles filled in. That's an accessibility checker. You can go directly to that. The other way to check is to go to File, check for issues right here in the center, and check accessibility. You will get a little report over to the right of your screen that shows you the different errors. The heading is missing alternative text. So click on each thing below that. So it shows me in the document, by highlighting it, what the error is, where it's located in the document, and then down below, over in the accessibility checker, it shows additional information, and it shows how to fix. So it gives you information right there on how to fix that document. For example, for adding alt text to a table, you right click, click Table Properties, then you click Alt Text, and you add your alt text. You don't need to identify that it's a table. You can say travel method pros and cons, and as you fix it, I click OK. Now watch over in the accessibility checker, that is going to disappear because it's been fixed. It's no longer there. As you fix things based on the accessibility checker, they are removed from the list, so you know that you fixed it. The next step is to go to the next error in the list, and it says Chart 2. So charts and images are a little different. You still right-click, and you click on, let's see where it is, Format Chart area. And this little icon here, over to the right, that looks like a black square with arrows in it. You click on that, and then you have the option to add alt text. You don't need to add a title. You can just write, let's see, because the title's already there, so you can just write a descriptive for most desired. See that you don't want to use the same title, so foremost destinations, and you can even break down the percentages if you wanted to, but you try and include enough information so the screen reader can give a visual representation of what the person is not seeing. So once that's saved, that's going to go away. The next section, missing all text, and these are all going to be for the most case. So you would, again, right click, click Format Picture, click the little square, and add a description. And it could be as simple as female scuba diving in blue water, and it can be like that, and then that will go away. Another type of error that's identified is a no header row specified in the table. You click on it, it shows you which table doesn't have a header row specified, and then if you went down here, it would show you how to fix it. And it says to specify the header row, select the table and highlight the top rows, which it did that for us this time. Click on Table Tools, which it's highlighted for us again. Click Layout, and we'll scroll down a little bit to get the rest of the directions. Click Layout, and then all you have to do is click Repeat Header Rows. And different versions of Word will have this a little differently, but once you find that, you click Repeat Header Rows, and it's fixed. And what that is, if it goes on to a next page, the header rows are there again. So it disappeared because it's fixed. There's another example of it in this header, and you fix it the same way. Layout, repeat header rows, and there, that went away. It's important to fix warnings as well. Accessibility checkers do not like merged cells, so keeping your tables consistent throughout is really important, and a way to fix that is reformat that table a little bit or list it differently. Remember, there's also the issue of that color for meaning, which would not be able to be understood by someone with vision issues. The next issue is objects not in line. This one's a little tricky because it can really change the format of your document, and you have to, it tells you how to fix it. So to change the objects, you click the object, then you right click it, and you have to put wrap text in line with, or wrap image, no, it says wrap text in line with text, and then it will change where the layout is. But what it's going to do, it wants them all in a neat row, so it's going to have each one and I clicked on the one of the people rafting, wrap text, inline with text. It's going to format them so that it's easier for the screen reader to view them. And I did it with each of them. Let's see, wrap text, inline, and that's how it's going to format it, which doesn't really look great. So sometimes you have to play with it a little, and there, we moved it so they're consistent and that it went away. Some other errors are, we went through those, or you can go through those on your own. The split cell, which people will fix differently. Blank characters is another issue. A screen reader will read it blank, 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 blank. And again, it's highlighted. Oftentimes, you just click the warning and you hit delete or backspace, and it takes that cell, the blank character, away. So let's click the next one, 10 characters. So there's just blank spaces in the document. So if I just click the backspace, there, that warning went away. And we'll scroll down and do the last one, 5 extra characters. I'm just hitting the backspace and that warning is gone. So once you make all of these go away, your document is accessible. The other thing that might show up is to check, it's a tip, and it says tip, check reading, check table format or reading of the table. So what you do is you click in the first cell and you tab and you make sure it goes left to right, top to bottom, just as you would read. So you tab through, so it's in the first box, then it goes to pros, then it goes to cons, then it goes to the next line, plain, and you're tabbing through. You're just hitting the tab each time to make sure that the screen reader will read it correctly. Sometimes that's an issue with people who set up tables. They're not in the correct reading order. For example, one of the ones I've seen quite frequently is the grade breakdown. People will do the first column A minus, B plus, B minus, and then the second column will start with D. Well, a screen reader will read that A, D, A minus, D plus, and it will read it and it won't make sense to the person that's using the screen reader. So then, once these are all fixed, you save your document and you're all set. I am going to post this exact document for you to practice on and to get some experience with fixing some of the accessibility issues, and I will create a place for you to upload it and check it. The other good thing to do on a regular basis is, and let me get rid of that, once you save it again, run the accessibility checker again and make sure it went through. And you should get a statement that says there are no accessibility issues in this document. But remember, there are some things you have to look at manually that won't show up on the screen reader.